What's the housing market really like in Texas? Today we're going to take a deep dive into what the market is here in San Antonio, Texas. 2021 has been kind of a crazy roller coaster for the housing market here in San Antonio, but not as crazy as it's been in Houston, Dallas, and Austin. If you're not familiar with my videos, I am Patricia Escobedo, and I create video content about what it's like to live, work, play, and love your life in San Antonio. I also help families just like yours relocate to the area. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to hit the subscribe button along with the bell to get notified every time I post a new video. Every day I have families reaching out to me wanting to know what it's like to live here, and I absolutely love it. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to shoot me an email, send me a text, slide into my DMs, however you want to get a hold of me. I've got your back when moving to San Antonio. So we are going to start right away and take this deep dive into what the housing market is doing here in San Antonio. Again, it's super different compared to Austin. My God, specifically Austin. Austin's just been kind of insane, but even compared to Houston and Dallas. So let's go ahead and just get into it. The first thing I want to go over with y'all is going to be the demand in homes. Obviously, it's like that everywhere, but it has created this like price increases throughout, whether it's existing or it's going to be newer construction. It's going to be just like this surge of like prices and stuff that have been going on since really the beginning of this year, because as of the end of 2020, it still wasn't as crazy as it has been this year. I really just feel like it's been, there's so many changes. A lot of employers are allowing their employees to work remotely, or people are just really wanting to get out of their current state and just be a part of Texas, which is really exciting. I mean, I might be a little biased, but I feel like Texas is going to be like, it's one of the best states to live in. So much to do here, and everyone's just really like awesome. Not gonna lie, we're pretty awesome. I've born and raised in Texas, so again, maybe that's my opinion, but I just really love being a Texan. So back on track, yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot of price increases. You know, prices are changing every single day in the existing and new construction market. The other thing I do want to mention though is if you're going to be making your move out here in the next, month or 6 months, what is the difference between, new construction and your existing market? Whichever, let's say, let's go into really just more the existing market as of right now, because that's where we're going to need to have a stronger offer. Whatever offer or whatever home you want to go ahead and make an offer on, what we're currently seeing is our offers going about $20,000 over asking price. So just keep that part in mind if you are going to hit that market and you're going to want to look at the existing homes. Expect to go over at least $20,000 over asking price. That's kind of rule of thumb right now. I mean, some of them are going up a little bit higher, but I think it really just depends on the location, and that's really going to be the driving factor of, where are you going to live in the city, and are there a lot of people wanting to, live in that part of town, or are you going to be a little bit more in the suburbs where there aren't so many people moving out there? So it really just depends on the current market or the current area. And then obviously, you're a realtor, or myself, obviously, if you're going to work with me, then we would just do a comparative market analysis and really just determine like, okay, what's the safe route or what's the safe amount to go ahead and offer. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that if you have not been through the home buying process and you don't really know what the process is, be sure to check out my other video, and I'll go ahead and post it and one of the links to be able to watch that video. It's a complete breakdown of how to prepare or how to buy a house. In that video, there's two different types of fees that I go over. So the first one is going to be your down payment, and then the second one is going to be your closing costs. So there's two different types of fees that are involved with purchasing your home. So the reason why I'm going into this is because back, in 2020 and even the years prior, we were able to go ahead and ask sellers to help and give help with closing costs. But with the way that today's market is, we're not able to ask the sellers to help with closing costs. I mean, we can ask, but we're not going to get it, and someone else will win the offer over you. So that's kind of just something to keep in mind. And every amount is going to be different for closing costs, just like your down payment is going to be different. Your closing cost is going to be different, and it's going to be something that your lender will tell you, okay, this is what your closing costs are, and it's really going to be based off of the amount that you are offering or the amount that you are financing. So at that point, we can kind of get a better estimate of how much the closing costs are going to be. So just keep that in mind. Right now in today's market, we're not really able to ask sellers to help with closing costs. So on top of down payment, just be financially prepared to pay those additional fees. There's like no way around it. We have to unfortunately pay those because it's part of the home buying process. But I mean, there's lenders who do give some type of lender credits to help with that amount or those fees however they can. So just be sure, I mean, whatever lender you connect with, you ask them, are there any kind of incentives, or are there, what can you do to help me cover some of these closing costs? So there's just so many just ways to be able to work your loan. You can even consider or ask the lender, can we roll in some of these closing costs to my loan? Again, it's just a matter of like connecting with the right people and them helping you maneuver through this process the right way. The other thing that we are seeing right now, buyers having to do a partial appraisal waiver, or they're gonna have to do a complete appraisal waiver. So basically, excuse me, my allergies have been totally crazy here. I don't know what's going on. We've had rain for like going on 5 weeks here, which is kind of crazy. Let me get back on track. So we're having to do partial appraisal waivers and we're having to do complete appraisal waivers. So what's the difference between the two? So when you do a complete appraisal waiver, you are basically telling the seller, hey, no matter what this house appraises for, I'm still gonna give you the amount that I offered. Is that like safe to do? I personally don't like it unless you have a nice amount of cash, sitting there ready to, go $100,000 over if you have to. Like, it's just certain things like that make me a little uncomfortable. I don't like to put my clients in a position where they're coming in with negative equity or just different things. So the other thing that you could do is do the partial waiver. So on that partial waiver, it's saying, hey, you know what? We're going to offer X amount. However, the home needs to appraise for this. So it protects you and you're not having to come up with a really large amount of cash to close. I know it's all like Chinese, but I promise you get with the right people and they'll help you maneuver through this process. But just be a little wary, ask questions. If you go with another realtor, make sure that you ask a ton of questions. There's like no dumb questions, because at the end of the day, we're the professionals and we're the ones who do this day in and day out. And we need to be able to like completely break this down for you, because it may be your first home and you may not know the process, or it's been a really long time since you've bought a home. So you're needing that guidance all over again. Just be sure to ask about the appraisal waivers and what they mean and what's the difference and all of that. And your realtor should be able to explain all that to you. The other thing that we are currently seeing right now is home inspections. So home inspections, we are still doing the home inspections. However, the inspection periods are a little bit shorter than normal is what we're seeing. And in the event that we do a FHA or a VA type loan, there are certain types or certain requirements that the seller needs to meet as far as, on the home. So that inspection will help you get an understanding of, okay, like, the appraiser said this, or we had to do this, and all these different, changes may need to be made when you're doing an FHA and you're doing a VA loan. Now, when you're gonna do your conventional loan, there aren't as many requirements or as many, requirements that are gonna have to be met. So you have a little bit more flexibility with moving forward on a home if there needs to be some type of repair done. Now, are we seeing sellers accept FHA and VA loans? Absolutely. Again, it's just a matter of how we structure them. How are we going to structure our offers, and how much are we willing to go over asking price, and how much like extra cash do you have to help you move on this home? And at the end of the day, what I tell my clients is, give me your best offer. Make sure that it's something that if you lose the home, can you sleep at night? You're going to be comfortable knowing you lost the deal because we didn't give your best offer. So we do have to be a little bit aggressive with our offers right now. But, the good thing is that we can still win bidding wars with FHA and VA loans. And I recently experienced that with some clients, and it's been exciting. I mean, I was kind of like, wait, what did we do? Like, we did this? Like, this is pretty exciting. So again, I mean, it's just a matter of connecting with the right people and helping you maneuver through this crazy housing, market, because it's just been insane this last, what are we, 6 months now into the year, and it's just been completely crazy. And just remember, what rule of thumb is at least $20,000 over asking price. That's the rule of thumb here in San Antonio compared to Austin. Austin is just like a crazy market. I do not want anything to do with the housing market in Austin. It's been crazy. I mean, I have colleagues that work out there, and it's like they are bidding on lots. Like, developers are allowing people to bid on lots and driving up the lot price. And I mean, I've heard of lots going for like $100,000 on a lot, and I'm like, that's without the house. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what it's gonna be when the house is completed. And it's a crazy market. San Antonio, thankfully, is not like that. Yes, we're seeing bidding wars and we're seeing people driving up prices, but nothing compared to Austin and Dallas and Houston. That's exactly what it's like in Houston and Dallas. It's a lot like the Austin market. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just, I think at some point the market will kind of recorrect itself and just kind of stabilize compared to what we're seeing right now. The other thing I want to kind of go over is if you're going to go the new construction route, we are seeing build times being pushed out. You know, the builders will still say, yeah, we can do it in, 5-6 months, but I would expect your build time or completion time to be pushed out anywhere from a month to like a month and a half. And that's because what we're seeing right now is we're seeing as crazy as this sounds, we're seeing a shortage of drivers. So if you are a truck driver and you're thinking about moving to San Antonio or moving to Texas, be sure to check out those jobs because we have a shortage and we need houses to be completed. So we are seeing a shortage of drivers. We're seeing really just delayed on like cabinets and certain like adhesives for the roofing. I mean, it's been kind of crazy. It's been a crazy time, and that's really what's driving these completion times to take a little bit longer. So aside, I think even from that, I recently read up on there being a shortage of trade workers, like employees, and that would be your HVAC techs, your electricians, your plumbers, people like that. So if you have a trade like that and you're thinking about moving over here, like please just like do your research, and I promise you'd get like an amazing job out here in Texas with whatever trade you have right now. So just, yeah, expect the build times to be a little bit more pushed out than normal because of those reasons. So then the other beautiful thing about going new construction is, yes, your build time is gonna take longer, all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get more square footage, more bang for your buck if you go the new construction route, if time permits you to do that. And that's gonna be the new construction route. And then the other perk of it is that with new construction, what happens with that is that once we contract you, so let's say we contract today and it's contracted for $300,000, you're protected from any price increases that may come your way along the build time. So I've seen houses or clients where we close, we contracted late last year and we're just closed on homes and they're coming in with $50,000, $60,000 equity. And that's not even with them being in the home for a year, but it's just kind of giving you an understanding of the equity that you get to build in new construction, and then obviously the protection that you have from any kind of price increases. So that's really important to just keep those in mind. Not saying that it's not a good market for the existing market, but it's just, do you have the time to wait for a dirt build or a home to be completed? Finding a community has kind of been a little bit difficult too, because as soon as builders are opening up communities, we have communities that are getting sold out, or builders are only allowing like anywhere from like 8 to 10 transactions a month per community. And that's gonna, I think, help again also balance out the current market is because they're putting these caps every month on these communities. They're not able to sell it as quickly. So those are just all like really important things to keep in mind if you're gonna go the new construction route. I may even do another video on just like taking a deep dive into new construction, because as most of you may know, for those of you who have worked with me already, new construction is kind of like my jam. Like, I really love new construction, but again, it just really depends on what your preference is. Do you want a newer development or newer community, or do you want something a little more established with a neighborhood that has trees and people that have been in the neighborhood for a long time? It just really depends on like what your preference is, and everyone has different preferences. But again, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm here for you, whatever you need throughout the process. If you're still a year out or 6 months out, whatever you need from me and my team, I'm here to help however I can or however we can get this process as seamless and as smooth as possible for you to come over to Texas, especially my Californians. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Y'all are freaking rock stars. We love you guys. But as always, if you have questions, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, slide into my DMs, however you want to get a hold of me. I've got your back when moving to San Antonio. I will see you guys on the next video.